There's a strange moment that happens in almost everyone's life, a moment so subtle that you almost miss it. It doesn't come with shouting or obvious anger. No one slams a door, no one raises their voice. Instead, it appears quietly, hiding inside ordinary conversations tucked between casual interactions. You're talking to someone you've known for months, maybe even years, and suddenly there's a small shift in the air. Something feels different. Their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. Their words sound friendly, but the tone underneath feels colder. You brush it off at first because we're all taught to believe the best in people. We tell ourselves we're imagining things. But deep down, somewhere beneath logic and politeness, your instincts begin whispering a quiet warning. Human beings are surprisingly good at hiding what they feel. Social rules demand it. In workplaces, friend groups, even within families, people often bury their true emotions under layers of politeness and performance. But psychology tells us something fascinating. Even when people try to hide resentment or dislike, the mind leaks. Small behaviors escape control. Micro-expressions flicker across the face. Words carry subtle weight. Body language betrays intentions long before the conscious mind can censor them. And if you pay attention, these signals reveal something many people never say out loud: that someone near you may secretly dislike you far more than they let on. The first sign usually appears in the quiet spaces between conversations. At first, everything seems normal. They greet you politely. They ask how you are. They might even laugh at your jokes. But over time, you start noticing something strange. When you speak, their attention drifts away. Their eyes wander to their phone, to the room, to anything but you. Their responses feel short, mechanical, almost rehearsed. It's not open hostility. That would be easier to recognize. Instead, it feels like emotional distance disguised as courtesy. Psychologists often describe this behavior as controlled disengagement. When someone secretly harbors negative feelings toward another person but doesn't want open conflict, the mind tries to reduce emotional investment. In simple terms, they mentally check out. You might notice it when you share something exciting about your life, only to receive a flat response like, "That's nice." No curiosity, no follow-up questions, no genuine engagement. The conversation becomes one-sided, as if your words are falling into empty space. What makes this sign confusing is that it doesn't feel aggressive. In fact, it can look polite on the surface, but emotionally, the connection starts to feel hollow. Imagine speaking into a room where someone is physically present but mentally miles away. That quiet absence often says more than anger ever could. Another signal appears in something psychologists call subtle sabotage. Not the dramatic kind you see in movies, where someone openly tries to ruin another person's success. Real sabotage is quieter, far more difficult to detect. It hides inside small comments, half-jokes, casual remarks that carry just enough negativity to sting, but not enough to confront directly. You might share an accomplishment, something you worked hard for, and they respond with a smile that feels slightly forced. "Wow, that's surprising. I didn't expect that from you." Or maybe, "You're lucky things worked out." On the surface, these words seem harmless. But beneath them lies a subtle implication that your success wasn't really earned. Psychologically, this behavior often emerges from hidden resentment or insecurity. When someone secretly dislikes you, your achievements can trigger uncomfortable comparisons in their mind. Instead of celebrating your progress, they unconsciously try to shrink it, not dramatically, just enough to restore their internal balance. These comments rarely arrive alone. They accumulate slowly, like tiny scratches on glass. Each one seems insignificant by itself, but over time, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Compliments feel backhanded. Encouragement carries a strange edge. And deep inside, you begin to sense that the support you thought existed was never truly there. The third sign is more subtle, often revealed through body language rather than words. Humans communicate enormous amounts of emotion without speaking. Posture, facial expressions, micro-movements, they reveal what the conscious mind tries to hide. And when someone secretly dislikes you, their body often betrays them long before their words do. Imagine sitting across from someone during a conversation. When you speak, their body angles slightly away from you. Their arms fold across their chest. Their feet point toward the exit. These signals are small, almost invisible unless you're paying attention. But psychologically they indicate something powerful: discomfort. Body language researchers explain that people naturally orient themselves toward what they like and away from what they dislike. When someone feels relaxed and engaged, their body opens. Shoulders turn toward the speaker. Eye contact feels natural. The space between people shrinks comfortably, but when hidden dislike exists, the body instinctively creates distance. You may notice a pattern where their warmth appears around others but fades around you. In group settings, they laugh freely, lean toward friends, and maintain open posture. But when you enter the conversation, something shifts. Their movements tighten, their smile becomes smaller. It's not dramatic enough to confront, but it's different enough to feel. The fourth sign often hides in the way someone responds to your vulnerability. Everyone has moments when they open up, moments when they share something personal, difficult or uncertain. And the reactions we receive in those moments reveal more about relationships than almost anything else. When someone genuinely cares about you, even casual acquaintances tend to show small signs of empathy. They listen more carefully. Their tone softens. They respond with understanding, even if they don't fully know what to say. But when someone secretly dislikes you, vulnerability can trigger something very different. Instead of empathy, you might sense impatience. Instead of understanding, you might hear subtle dismissal. Perhaps they change the subject quickly or respond with something that feels oddly cold. Sometimes humor is used to deflect the seriousness of what you shared. Psychologically, this reaction happens because empathy requires emotional investment. And when negative feelings already exist beneath the surface, the mind resists offering that investment. The result is a response that feels detached, almost uncomfortable, as if your openness created a burden they never wanted. It's a strange experience because nothing cruel is explicitly said, but the absence of care speaks loudly enough. And then there's the fifth sign, perhaps the most revealing of them all. It appears in those quiet moments when your name comes up in conversations you're not part of. Humans are naturally curious about how others speak about them behind closed doors. We wonder if our presence changes the energy after we leave. Sometimes clues slip through. A friend mentions that someone made a strange comment about you. A colleague casually repeats a joke that doesn't feel entirely friendly. Or you notice certain people seem to know private details about your life that you never shared with them. Psychology calls this indirect hostility. When someone harbors negative feelings but avoids direct confrontation, those emotions often find their way into conversations with third parties. Complaints appear in private. Criticism travels quietly through social circles. The person maintains politeness in front of you while releasing frustration elsewhere. This behavior is surprisingly common because direct conflict is uncomfortable for many people. Gossip becomes a safer outlet. It allows someone to express negativity without risking a face-to-face confrontation. What makes this sign powerful is the pattern it creates. Individually, each comment may seem small, but when multiple sources repeat similar observations, the truth slowly becomes harder to ignore. At this point, many people ask a difficult question: what should you do if you realize someone secretly dislikes you? The instinctive reaction is often to fix it. We try harder to be friendly. We become more accommodating. We search for ways to prove ourselves worthy of approval. But psychology suggests something important. Not every negative feeling can or should be repaired. Human relationships are complex. People carry insecurities, past experiences, and internal struggles that shape how they see others. Sometimes someone's dislike has very little to do with you at all. It may stem from comparison, misunderstanding, jealousy, or simply clashing personalities. The healthiest response is often awareness rather than confrontation. Recognizing these subtle signals allows you to adjust your emotional boundaries. Instead of chasing validation from someone who quietly resists you, you can redirect your energy toward people who genuinely appreciate your presence. Because here is a truth many discover only after years of confusion. Not everyone is meant to like you. And strangely enough, that realization can feel incredibly freeing. When you stop trying to win approval from those who secretly oppose you, your attention shifts. You begin noticing the people who do listen, who celebrate your successes, who respond with warmth instead of quiet distance. Those connections become clearer, stronger, far more meaningful, and perhaps the most powerful change happens inside your own mind. Instead of questioning your instincts, you start trusting them. That subtle discomfort you once ignored becomes a signal rather than a mystery. You recognize the difference between genuine kindness and carefully disguised resentment. In the end, the goal is not to become suspicious of everyone around you. Most people are not secretly hostile. Most relationships contain far more goodwill than hidden dislike. But learning to recognize these psychological signals gives you something valuable: clarity. Clarity about where your energy belongs, clarity about which relationships deserve your trust, and clarity about a quiet truth of human nature that many people spend years trying to understand. Sometimes the most honest emotions are the ones no one ever says out loud.